we need a way to keep teachers accountable and students accountable for their learning. I'm not against that. I think that's extremely important. However, the amount of time put into standardized testing, I think, is criminal. Okay. It takes away from the students actually having time to learn in class.
Students are taking between 10 and 20 standardized tests depending on the grade, a total average of 113 different ones by graduation.
Also hear from parents who rightly worry about too much testing.
Okay. I mean, I think there has to be something to make us all accountable for teaching the standards to the children, but I think that it's just too much.
We have to be held accountable, but the standardized testing that they have, it's not working.
Why?
Because the time of the year it's set, the length of it.
We want students to be able to exercise their right to opt out of state testing. Well, that right exists right now in state law.
Now, there was no school today here at Cherry Creek High School, just that one standardized test for the seniors. But of 877 students, only 24 actually showed up.
Well, we were expecting it. We have seen growing parent concern about the number of tests that are given to students each year.
The challenge is that if this will negatively impact teachers and their evaluations if these students take a 0.
Tonight, a former Williamson County school teacher says standardized testing ended her 30-year career.
Dixie McClellan says she felt bullied by the entire process.
Are we going to force kids and parents to comply and take this test?
Every year I do good in school, but I get low test scores on the FCAP, and it feels like a punch in the stomach. This is unfair, and I don't want to lose my opportunity to take my advanced classes or get better education because of this one test.
Learning is about so much more than just filling in the right bubble.
There's some students who are brilliant but just can't take a test. That's not an excuse, but it's the truth, right? So there has to be more than one measure, but I think something that is just more practical. It just doesn't seem to. I don't have a solution, and that's why I have a difficult time complaining. But I do a lot of complaining, but I don't have a solution for it. So I'm not sure. But I think that
the system is broken. Okay, teachers, scholars, and politicians all agree that standardized testing is damaging our educational structure. They take too much time away from the classroom that could be better used for learning purposes. They act more like a knife with teachers under the dissection microscope. They aren't practical. And yet, teachers still advocate for the accountability testing holds them and their schools to. But accountability can be maintained without standardized testing. An alternative that needs to gain more traction goes by a general term: performance-based assessments. Anything from portfolios to even projects.
Assess a student's deep understanding of a subject and their ability to apply a concept. You cannot test those kinds of abilities through a traditional paper and pencil kind of an assessment. It has to be what we call a performance-based assessment, and that's why I do these projects, because the project requires the students to create products or performances.
The students have ownership of the material, and it clearly demonstrates their knowledge.
It helped pull together different concepts that we had worked on all year and use them in a real-life application.
The students have to develop the performances. The teachers have to evaluate them. But the time is not lost to teaching and learning. The time is teaching and learning because the actual conduct of the assessment is a learning experience for the students as well as the teacher. It informs teaching. It actually gives teachers feedback immediately about what they need to do to meet students' needs. So it's actually productive time.